When I first started making felt animals, I didn't know much. So I have to self-taught myself all the basics, like how to sew eyes. Today I'm sharing 5 different styles I use to sew eyes on animals, and I have prepared these bear faces to show you how to do each style. This one gonna be a long video, so let's go one by one. I'm using DMC embroidery thread to sew the eyes, and thread your needle and make a knot at the end. So you can practice with me as well. Now let's start with the first style, and I'm using all 6 strands. Choose where you want the eye to be and come up at that point from the back of the fabric. Now make a small vertical stitch upward by going back down like this. The next step is to repeat the first step on top of the first stitch. Come up from the same spot and go back down at the same point. Then come up in the middle of the very stitch you just made. It's gonna split the threads into 2 parts that way. Now make an upward vertical stitch which is similar in length to the first stitch you made. This is the first style, and now you can do the other eye by yourself to practice. This is how it looks, and let's end the stitch by making a knot at the back. And finally trim the thread. This is the final look, and I think it looks good on this bear, more like a real polar bear. This is the second style, and it is really simple. All you have to do is make 2 French knots for the 2 eyes. You can eyeball the position of the eye, or you can use a fabric marking pen to mark the 2 eyes like this. Like we did earlier, thread your needle and make a knot at the end. Come up from the back of the fabric. Holding one end of the thread, wrap the needle once, twice and thrice. The size of the knot varies on how many times you wrap it. Then carefully go back down at the same point where you came up. Pull the needle while holding the thread from your other hand. Let it go when you come to the last bit and it will give a little 3D-like look to the eye. Now move to the other eye. We have a separate detailed video on how to do the French knot if you need more practice. I will leave the link in the description. This is the final look when you use French knots for the eyes. End the stitch by making a knot at the back. Trim the excess thread. These different styles give different looks to the bear. For the third style, you are going to need a fabric marking pen. Draw a half circle where you want the eyes to be, like this. 2 half circles for the 2 eyes. And then make a few short lines to show the eyelids. I think this look gives a more peaceful vibe to the plushie. Start sewing along the half circle using the back stitch. That way you won't leave any spaces in between. A simple tip is to make stitch length shorter. That will help to maintain the shape of the half circle. When you are done with that, make a few single short stitches on top of the marked lines to show the eyelids. This is how it looks, and let's move to the other eye. After watching the first one, try to do the other eye on your own. As always, make a knot at the back of the fabric and trim the thread. Here's the final look with the third style, a sleepy little bear. Number 4. You'll need a fabric marking pen for this as well. Draw 2 angles for the 2 eyes like this. And make it to a 90-degree rotated capital A by closing it with a short line like this. Thread your needle and make a knot at the end. Come up with one end of the angle and make a single straight stitch like this. Then do the same to the other arm as well. Make a single short stitch to complete the letter A. Now there is a bit of space in the middle. We have to fill that space by simply making a few stitches in the middle like this. There is no particular way to do this, just make a few short stitches to fill it. This is the fourth style, and let's move to the other eye. Follow the same steps to complete this one. Both eyes are completed and keep practicing till you get hold of it. End your stitch by making a knot at the back of the fabric and trim the thread. I think this style gives a more animated look to the bear. This is the final style for the video, and it will need more than an embroidery thread. You're gonna need to cut 2 small circles from white color felt fabric and 2 somewhat smaller circles from black colored felt fabric. First, position the white circle where you want the eyes to be and thread your needle with white thread and make a knot at the end. Now start to sew around it like this. You can use the back stitch for this and keep sewing till you go all the way around. I'm sewing the other white circle next, only because then I don't need to change the thread again when I'm doing the other eye. End the stitch by making a knot. Trim the excess thread. Now we can sew the black circle on top of the white circle. First check how you want to position the black one. I usually like it to be placed closer to one end because you can see the white circle part a little more that way. Keep the black circle on top and start to sew around it. You can use the back stitch, or you can just make a few short stitches to hold the piece. Now let's move to the other eye. Make sure they are symmetrical when you place the black circle. End the stitch with a knot at the back and trim the thread. I think this style gives a more cute plushy look to the bear. Now we are done with all 5 styles, and let me know which one is your favorite. Of course, there are more than 5 ways to sew eyes to a plushie, but I have only selected the ones I use the most here. Let me know if there are any other styles you commonly use, and we can share some sewing tips that way. I really think these will be helpful for people who are just starting out or anyone who is looking to make a cute little plushie. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll join you in the next one.